Like, I got one of these last night. I was twirling it. I was out there twirling it with the fans. I'm twirling it. And, my wife's looking at me. She could not believe, that I actually let go and had a little fun with the fans. We're high-fiving everybody. We're sitting next to the Wild. Thank you to the Minnesota Wild for the tickets. So I was kind of sitting around, and I figured I'd be sitting around like Wild family or friends or whatever. So I didn't want to, go and just be a complete like bored guy. And, so you walk in, you know what to expect. Literally, soon as I walk in, goal. I'm like, what? Because I got in like right at the first goal. And I'm still standing because I didn't realize you're not allowed to sit during motion. So now they're trying to usher people in. And as I'm heading to my seat, goal. I'm like, wait, what? Like, this can't be real. Like, there's no way goals are scored this fast. And so as I'm talking to people, they're like, no, it normally does not happen like that, but it's happening. It happened again, I think, in the fifth and sixth goal, or the fourth and fifth goal. No, fifth and sixth, because the sixth goal was taken away because Eriksson was offsides. And so when you looked at that 5-6 goal, again, it was like, boom, empty netter, boom, and I'm like, is it always like this? Because if hockey is always like this, I'm in. Like, sign me up. I am getting messages, I won't lie, from people saying, hey, man, you're a good luck charm. Because that was I was a hockey virgin, an NHL hockey virgin. I have gone to a Gophers, Wisconsin game in college. So I have been to an actual hockey game. But as far as the NHL goes, I was an NHL hockey virgin. And I'm glad I got to experience that. One, I got to experience with my wife, like not my boys, not my friends, because that's a good story we'll always be able to tell our kids. Because now we're like, man, we should bring our kids to this, because that was cool. It's just too late though. Like, I saw people there with kids, and I'm like, we're leaving here at 11:30, and your kid is still awake. Like, I'm in the parking lot driving out. I'm looking over at people walking across the street. Kids are half asleep. They're trying to drag their kid. I'm like, pick the baby up. Like, I know the baby's 11, but pick the 11. Is that my 11-year-old daughter, and she looks completely exhausted and tired, I'm picking my baby up. And so it was so much fun though, man. And so looking at just the speed of the game, I was able to host the power trip yesterday as well, and that helped out. I met Todd Fredrickson. He's the VP of marketing. I actually did the show with Nate Prosser, and so Prosser gave me a bunch of tips about what to watch. And so, man, as I'm seeing, I had never noticed guys really laying their body on the line for their goalie, like laying on the ground as a shot's coming in. I don't know what number he was for the Blues, but he took an absolute rocket, like to the arm or the shoulder. He falls, he jumps up, he just, like, his shoulder slumped over, he skates off, they sub him out. I'm like, dude, like, took 5 years off of his life. Like, he took an absolute rocket. Because I thought about the Mighty Ducks and the kid that used to be able to shoot like ridiculous speed, but he had no accuracy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he could, I forgot his name, but in the movie, and Audra probably knows it exactly, but he was one of the Bash brothers. They wore the bandanas, but he could like bang it, but he couldn't skate. So they had to teach him how to skate. And that reminds me a little bit of, it reminded me a little bit of Delorier, big, lumbering, just, because I didn't know what his role was. I'm like, he's just a big dude out there. His job is to enforce, and I know I'm speaking to the masses because you guys are hockey, state of hockey out there in Minnesota, this. But for me to even watch him protect the goalie, like every time there's a goal, they're still trying to stick the stick under the goalie's butt. They're trying to get it in his legs, trying to, jar the puck loose so they can really say it's not dead yet. And the refs kind of let it play for a minute, like to see, like, oh, is he going to get it out of there? Like, what? And then those guys come knock guys out. They're throwing guys down. They're holding guys. They're pulling guys off their goalie. But just seeing guys lay on the ground, because Prosser said, they said, man, we need to get more guys in the house to lay down. And I'm like, man, that's a great term, because he said, that blue and then make it like a little triangle. It's a house, and that's the area you got to clean the house. Like, you got to keep guys out of there so they're not in the way of the goalie, so we can see the shot on goal. And just watching all of that, watching it play out, watching guys on fast breaks, just the speed of it, watching how slippery Kirill Kaprizov is with the puck, man. I mean, just stopping and being able to puck handle it in one hand and hold a guy off. I even got into the penalties a little bit. I'm starting to watch the replay, like, man, that's not tripping. Like, I literally felt like this is the Vikings game, because the Vikings have that same issue with refs. Like, I think it's just a Minnesota thing. Like, the Minnesota Timberwolves had issues with the ref. The Vikings has issues with refs. And now the Wild, like, some of the penalties, it was so funny to watch Eriksson like skate off, like his mom just sent him to his room, like with the head down, because the refs just screwed him. Like one time, literally, he's just standing there right at the little matchup spot where they face off, or like off to the right. Guy just like falls, doesn't really hit him, falls. They throw him out for roughing. I would have said, and I didn't know this was a flag. Embellishment. Like, I think that guy embellished. I don't think that was actually like, it's like flopping in the NBA, I guess. They were trying to explain it to me. I'm like, yes, he embellished. Like, there's no way that Eriksson hit that guy. One of the trippings, same thing. He's just skating. That guy can't get his skate up over his skate. That's not tripping. He didn't stick his leg out and move. He embellished. But I loved it. I had a ton of fun. They won 6-2. I tweeted, and I'm going to tweet it out today. That's 3-round Johnson, though, but I'm going to tweet it out today. I tweeted the score would be 5-3. So I said 8 points for those that were betting in Vegas. Because why? Because Ben Lieber said it would be 6. I said it's going to be over 6. It was over 6. 6-2, though, better, but still 8 points. I said it was going to be 8. I'm not saying I know it all, but I felt it. When I walked into that building, I sent that tweet. I'm like, man, this is going to be a high scoring one. And everybody's, I think it's going to be a grinder. They're going to grind it. No, man. I saw my first hat trick. Like, I saw 2 hat tricks. One didn't count. And my wife was like, what is going on? Like, why are they throwing hats? And hats were coming from the top. It's like a conveyor belt of hats. Like, people would throw theirs so the next person could throw theirs. And then there was a guy like at the net. He's throwing them up over. He's trying to force them under the net. And the refs are just clearing out. Players are clearing out. They're just waiting for the hats to be done. The skate crew comes out with their trash cans. They put on. What do they do with those hats, Sam? Like, where do those hats go?
Lost and found. Okay,
I don't know. There's not like a donation program,
maybe
homeless or something.
There might be. I mean, it'd be hard to get your own hat from that many hats and not steal other people's hat, right? I mean, it would be a free for all. I don't know where they would have that stationed to pick up your hats, so maybe they do give them away.
I always wondered that, because that was a ton of hats. And then I think it was Eriksson, but he was offsides, so they put that goal back. They took it off. They rewatched it, and he was offside. He entered the blue, and I learned that he entered the blue line before the puck, or crossed the blue line before the puck. Right? That's how it works, right? You can't cross the blue line before the puck and the person with the puck. Yeah, so he crossed the blue line early. So it was a legit call. They watched the replay, and then Kirill Kaprizov, he comes back, he gets the hat trick. So that was cool as well, just to see that, the fans, the excitement, the high fives, the willingness of people, because everybody knew, like, they're like, oh, that black guy doesn't know what he's watching. So the willingness of people like to just talk to me. A lot of people actually knew because they would listen to K-Fan, and they actually watched the Ron Johnson show. I found out too, because a lot of people were coming to me like, are you going to talk about this tomorrow? Like, did you enjoy it? Did you have fun? Like, so it was cool to see now, like, after doing 8 years of media in Minneapolis, that people actually recognize me out now, and they're asking me about, my experience, am I having fun? So no, I completely enjoyed it, Sam. But let's talk about the game a little bit, Sam. Like, for you, what do you think now? Like, it's 1-1, because now I hate to be a rube, because now I feel like it, but I do still feel like Wild in 6. I think I say Wild in 6. So I think they can do it, because all they have to do is steal one on the road, maybe 2. They steal the first one on the road Friday. They can then, now you got them questioning, like, man, they really put 6 goals up on us. Now are they questioning? Now Fleury, he's, and that's the other question. Do you stick with Fleury now this whole series? Or do you give Cam Talbot a chance on the road? Like, I'm concerned about that too. Like, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, the Wild rolled the dice by sticking with Fleury, and it paid off. I thought he was pretty strong in that game, and it got a little dicey there, Ron, early in the third period when it was 4-2.
Yeah,
Blues had a power play. They could have easily cut that to 4-3, and then you're gripping your stick tightly. But the Wild survived. Fleury was good. He made sure they didn't lose that lead, and they broke Husso, who I'm sure you were in on the chance, Ron.
Yeah.
Husso. They figured him out a bit too. So now they go to St.
Husso
Louis.
to Who Sucks. So it was a couple different ones they had, and then they did the Husso Sucks. So it was like Husso Sucks, then Who Sucks. So it was, my wife was like, that's not nice. Like, that's
sort of a blend of
my wife wasn't happy with that one. She's like, that's not nice. She's like, what are they saying? I'm like, well, they're saying Husso, and I pointed to the goalie because he's in front of us at that point. And then when they got to Who Sucks, I think when it was the fifth goal, I think they started saying Who Sucks. And then she's not a proponent of the taunting of players. She's a very fair play athlete, and so she was not happy with the Minnesota Wild fans when they did that one.
Well, I totally respect that. I'm all about applauding for the team that you're cheering for, but I think that now that you've got that goalie beaten 6 times or 5 times, I guess, with an empty netter, Fleury can go in with a little more confidence. Now you feel like I think you're back on even terms. And if you get out of St. Louis 2-2, coming back home for the final 3 games, or I should say game 5 and game 7, I feel good if I'm a Wild fan. I think old Wild teams would have been flattened last night. They wouldn't have known how to respond. They would have dropped that game, gone down 0-2. Last night's win proved to me that this Wild team is different. They're more resilient. They've got better resolve, and they can score. Like, they got to remind themselves that we can score a bunch of goals, and they did. So I like their chances a lot now. Hopefully game 1 was an aberration, and that game 2 is more of what we're going to see.